This is ShadowQuant, Crypto Edition, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Friday, June 12, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the scorecard. Pulse, you called bearish on Bitcoin, target $62,500, but the price ended at $63,367, up 0.73%. Grid also called bearish, target $62,500, but the price moved higher. CIPHER, same thing, target $62,500, but it's now at $63,367. SPECTER, your target was $62,000, but it's at $63,367. Apex, you were bearish, target $62,500, but the price went up. All 5 of you missed the move. Let's hear from each of you.
I didn't see the retail-driven momentum in the fear index. I'll adjust my analysis to focus more on sentiment divergence and less on macro fear.
I overemphasized the bearish technicals without factoring in the volume and flow data. I'll recalibrate to balance chart patterns with on-chain signals.
I relied too much on the fear index and not enough on the net inflows. I'll focus more on institutional positioning and flow data.
I'm on a losing streak, but I won't default to bearish without new data. I'll look for signs of institutional risk-taking and liquidity shifts.
My call was too aligned with the bearish narrative. I'll integrate more flow and sentiment data to avoid missing the retail-driven rally.
Let's break it down. The top story is Bitcoin and Ethereum facing cross-market pressure, with Bitcoin at $63,367, up 0.83%, and Ethereum at $1,664.30, up 0.99%. The U.S. Senate housing bill includes a CBDC ban, and Bitcoin futures demand is at 2024 lows. On the equity side, SPY is at 448.32, down 0.12%. Fear and greed is at 14/100, and the VIX is at 19.87. SPECTER, what's your take on the risk implications?
The VIX is at 19.87, up 0.95, and the 5-day range is 15.1823.34. That's elevated, but not yet a signal for a broad market correction. The key is how the fear index interacts with crypto prices.
The fear index is at 14/100, but crypto prices are still rising. That suggests a retail-driven rally, not a macro-driven one.
Let's talk about Bitcoin first. Bitcoin is at $63,367, up 0.83% on the session. Grid, what's your take?
The technicals look solid. Bitcoin is above the $63,000 support level, and the 12% volume increase supports the bullish case. The key resistance is at $64,000, and if it breaks there, a move to $64,500 is possible.
The on-chain data supports this. Bitcoin has a net inflow of $1.2 billion, and Ethereum has $300 million. That's a sign of institutional interest. The volume is also at $76.3 billion, up 12% from the 30-day average.
The sentiment is mixed, but the retail momentum is strong. Even though the fear index is at 14/100, the Reddit and social data show a shift in focus to crypto.
I'm not convinced. The VIX is still elevated and the fear index is rising. That could signal a short-term pullback.
Let's move to Ethereum. Ethereum is at $1,664.30, up 0.99% on the session. Grid, what's your read?
Ethereum is also showing strength with a higher low on the daily chart. The key resistance is at $1,687.85, and if it breaks there, a move to $1,700 is possible.
The decentralized finance, TVL, and net flow data support this. Ethereum is up 0.99% and the volume is rising. That suggests sustained interest in the asset.
The sentiment is also positive. Retail investors are buying, and the fear index isn't translating into bearish pressure.
I still see risk. The VIX is at 19.87 and the fear index is rising. That could mean a short-term correction.
Let's look at the other altcoins. BNB is at $605.73, up 1.8%. Solana is at $66.71, up 2.41%. TRX is down 2.71% at $0.31. XRP is up 1.94% at $1.13.
BNB is showing strength with a 1.8% gain. The key resistance is at $607.37, and if it breaks there, a move to $610 is possible.
The net inflows are positive, and the volume is at $76.3 billion. That's a sign of institutional interest.
The sentiment is still positive, despite the broader market's fear. Retail investors are pushing prices higher.
I'm still cautious. The VIX is elevated and the fear index is rising. That could lead to a short-term pullback.
SPECTER, you pushed back on Grid read on Bitcoin. Let's dig into that.
Grid said Bitcoin is bullish above $63,367, but the VIX is at 19.87, up 0.95. The 5-day range is 15.1823.34. That's elevated volatility, which typically precedes corrections. The fact that crypto prices are rising despite that is a red flag.
The VIX is elevated, but the data shows that crypto is less correlated with the broader market. The 12% volume increase and the net inflows suggest that institutional interest is still present. The technicals are also strong.
I agree, the on-chain data and flows support the bullish case. The VIX is high, but it's not translating into downside pressure for crypto.
My 24-hour call. Bitcoin bearish. Target $62,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bullish, target $64,500 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bullish, target $65,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $62,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bullish, target $64,500 by next session.
So, what's the takeaway? There's a clear divergence between the macro indicators and the crypto market. The VIX is high, and the fear and greed index is at 14/100, but Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing resilience. The key is how the fear index interacts with the volume and flow data. Watch for a potential pullback, but also consider the bullish technicals and institutional interest. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Crypto Edition. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.